obviously we have a ton to talk about this week. Now, I took last night off because I was feeling ill, and I had a ton of people message me, Anthony, I hope you're all right. Just take it easy with the stress of everything. It's not the stress of everything. It was the fact that I don't want to get sick, go to the track, and bother everybody. I mean, Jesus, it's snowing. It is snowing right now in Cleveland. It's like Ontario followed us here. Just wasn't feeling great about 8 days ago. I had a little sore throat, a little headache, and just stayed away from everybody and did my thing. I mean, I'm vaccinated, so I didn't think I didn't think there was any issues, but there could be. So I stayed away from everybody, and when it came to Saturday, you know what? Just take the remainder of the week and just relax, just for safety's sake. So that's what I did last night. It wasn't that I couldn't drive. If it was 2019, you can be absolutely sure I would have been at the track, both the Meadows and Northfield Park, but we don't live in 2019 anymore. We live in 2021. And I want to make sure that everybody stays as healthy as they can. And listen, we live in a day and an age when there's a virus that's never been around before. And I've said it a million times. I'm not in an arrogant way. I'm not worried about the coronavirus, but I am worried about spreading it. Now, I am fully vaccinated. Over 32 days ago, I had my my coronavirus vaccine, the Johnson & Johnson, so I feel fine. But we interact with thousands of people every single day, so I want to make sure that they're fine too. So for the people out there worrying that I was at home under the weather dying or something, I'm fine. Relax. As you can see, still a little congestion, but how could it be? I drove in a short sleeve suit in Miami Valley. I drove in a short sleeve suit the day before. I had to warm up in full earmuffs, winter gloves, and spring and fall training suit to qualify and train the other day. I mean, the weather, as I said, 36 degrees right now. That's 2. Snow falling, rain, and you know how much. This is my worst, the worst weather in the universe is 0 to +2, sleet and snow and driving rain. Yeah, nothing is worse than that. Freezing rain and snow mix, worst in the world. So, the weather alone, the horses we're going to have to take this week. We wanted to start schooling the babies on Wednesday. Can't do that now. We might roll a couple of them up in behind the gate, but we're not going in 210 on Wednesday the way we wanted to. Just makes no sense. How can it go from a 20 to 25 degree swing in a week and the horses be okay? I wasn't okay. I can't expect that they're going to be okay also. So, this week's going to be a washout. We were going to do a drone next Saturday. Probably not going to do that now. The weather doesn't look great for next Saturday. I don't know what training is going to look like this week. We're doing our best to get everything coordinated. If they're going to offer Wednesday training behind the gate every Wednesday, maybe what I'll try and do is have a drone day from Tomiko Training Center next Wednesday while we're going behind the gate. That would be cool. I mean, we're always trying to change things up and make sure you guys get a look at your horses heading into the summer. But you have to take care of your horses heading into the summer first and foremost. So a bit of a topsy-turvy week as far as my health or everybody's health, the horses' potential health. But we've had some great horses, great races on the track this week. Perfect Record was a winner last Monday. He's back in to go tomorrow. I mean, truthfully speaking, the horse won with a flat tire and his hobbles were tight. And I know Mark Beckwith is getting used to him. Anytime you send horses to such a professional, they want to do their best, right? Everybody wants to do their best. And sometimes when you don't get off on the right foot, it puts a ton of pressure on you. And I'm pretty sure that's what it boiled down to when it came to Mark and Perfect Record. I'm glad he won, but I'm expecting a good race from him on Monday. We parted ways with Cyrus Blue Chip, which we knew what we were going to do. We'll talk about some of the transitions between selling and keeping the horses, and I do this almost every video lately, just trying to make sure that everybody understands where I come from. I'm not the big bad wolf. I'm just not shedding horses in a careless manner. It's important that I try to articulate that the best I can. So Cyrus Blue Chip goes without saying. We've given the horse well over a year and a bit to prove his mettle, to prove that he's the horse that he was bred to be, and he isn't. But that doesn't mean he's a bad horse. He's just not a horse for us. And I know a lot of people say, well, if you're only keeping stake horses, then just sell them all. People get upset, and that's not the case. As long as the horses have a place to do well, that's fine. But if we're going to look for the very bottom of the barrel classes to race horses in just to say we're going to race them, I'm sorry, I just don't agree with that. that approach. So perfect record. Looking for a good race from him on Monday. Won My Heart Hanover is in a transition. It's so weird. She's got so many starts this year already. I was worried about how many starts she'd have, and it just seems like every time she steps foot on the track, she gets better and better and better. And just really impressed with the transition from Won My Heart Hanover, slowly becoming the horse we hoped she'd be last year, and just really impressed with the ride. With the ride with her, not just metaphorically, but also the drive she's been getting from Hunter Myers. There's a kid that we got off on the wrong foot last year, didn't we, with the colt he drove, to be unnamed, the colt he drove last year, and he's done such a great job. And I watched this kid on the track. He's doing good things, and wish him all the luck, and obviously happy that he's down to drive Won My Heart again this week. Time Houdini and Brave World both raced great this week. Brave World finishing second in 54, Time Houdini second in 58. I think they were both in their opens, prospective opens. And then Well and Down won last night. Now she's going to trigger another path I want to talk about again when we talk about the selling path. I'll skip back to her in just 1 second. A lot of people also asking about Yes. Yes originally was scratched because he was sick. Irv said, my trainer keeps telling me that his second trainer keeps telling him he's off left hind. So Irv, being the meticulous horseman he is, the reason we have the horses with him, he went all over the horse's left hind with the vet. Checked that suspensory, perfect. Blocked him. So you guys may remember I've talked about this sometimes. When you can't find diagnostically what is wrong with a horse, a lot of people will revert back to old school methods, which is blocking the horse's joints out. So usually when you're talking about issues in a hind leg or any leg, foot, ankle, pastern, if it's a hind leg, hock, stifle, these are usually the points of problems in the horses. You'll rarely find without a vet being able to diagnose it, a cracked bone in a leg. Obviously you can win an x-ray that, right? So Irv was a little perplexed that the veterinarian couldn't find out what he perceived to be wrong with the horse left hind. And as I'd said to Irv, the horse has always been carried over on the right shaft since the day we put a harness on him. That's not to say there's nothing there, but it is to say it's been there forever. So Irv and the vet blocked everywhere left hind, couldn't find a thing, which is good in the sense that he couldn't find anything, bad in the sense that he couldn't find anything. So Irv's now in the middle of getting him back ready to qualify. I know every week everybody's waiting, where's Yes, where's Yes, where's Yes. I spoke to Irv for quite a while about him and Cavill Hanover, talk about him in a minute, the other day, and Irv was clearly frustrated that they couldn't find out what was wrong with him left hind. He was going to push forward cautiously, and I know I told you he'd qualify next week. I think that may be the week after. He wanted to train him up a couple of good trips and see if he can't get it out, get that wrinkle that he sees out of him with the veterinarian, he was going to try and do it mechanically, changing equipment, changing shoes, which is good. I know everybody wants him racing. I see people putting shares up for sale. Listen, Yes is the same Yes he's been forever. But just Irv knows he has to be at the top of his game to do good. And now that he's only had, 6 starts or something for the year, it's going to take time. And I think Irv articulated that well to me, that Anthony, you're not going to see this horse be the Yes of last winter until we get him back up into that really zinging tight racing shape. To get to that level, you have to put a certain amount of work into him. To put that work into him, he has to be sound. And if he's not 100% sound, I'd like to get him that way. But as I said to him, put it this way, Irv. You take your time, you get him to where you need him to be and how you need him to get there. First and foremost, Irv Miller is an extremely good horseman. If he's telling you, give me time, let's give him the time. This horse is going to excel later in the summer into the fall anyway. Our whole point of racing him was to get him back to Yonkers in the wintertime. Thought we had him ready to go, stumbled at Northfield, then wasn't great at the Meadows. Then he got to Yonkers and was really good for 3 starts. No, he was good for 3 starts, but he wasn't really, really good. He wasn't the Yes of the year before. So the good news is there's nothing wrong with that left hind leg or any other issue with physically that a veterinarian can find in any diagnostic way. So Irv Miller is going to use his horsemanship, get the horse back to the races, and then let him progress at a rate and keep a very close eye on him. The fact that this man runs such a large operation and is taking the time to tell me what he is going to do with a singular operation makes me happy. That's what I try and do. That's what we try and do for everybody out there. So the fact that he does it too is impressive. So I appreciate his candor when it comes to yes, and I appreciate his meticulous way about going and fixing what may or may not be there with the horse, and I think we all should also. Yes is good. He's always going to be good for us as long as we take care of him and let him take care of us. So I appreciate the conservative fashion in which Irv Miller is approaching this horse. West 52nd, I lied to you last week, said he was 2-3 weeks away, and then he was going to qualify. So he qualified well. He drew the rail, I believe, this week at Harrington Raceway. So I'm eager to see him get back going. Happy to see him back at it. A pretty good week all around when it came to it. Now, there were some changes. As I said, I had somebody message me the other day and said, why are so many horses up for sale? They're not going to be the last wave you see up for sale. If these horses are not going to be able to compete in a consistent manner at a good level for us, then we are going to explore selling them. And I've said this time and time again, and I know it sounds like I'm beating the same drum, but at the same time, people have to understand that although the Stable.ca is here for an experience and entertainment, it's very hard to entertain people when your horses are getting beat up every week. Anybody can see that a horse like Cavill Hanover, yes, he was good in the fall. Now we're starting to get into the spring and into the summer. He has, we've seen him bleed a couple of times. That's why he's on Lasix. We know that he struggles sometimes with his airway in the summer. And, you know, truthfully speaking, it made sense to maybe look at selling him. Irv had priced the horse around 23 to 25, and we ended up getting 28 for him, which was at the top end of what we were looking for. We priced him at 30. I think 28 was a fair price for Cavill Hanover. He's going to a very, very hot burn in Dan Noble. So I don't know what the horse is going to do. We'll see. But at the end of the day, when it comes for us, it made sense to take a look at that. You could see what had happened. He won, finished second, raced okay in the bottom class, then won the bottom class, moved up 2 rungs, I believe, on the ladder, and really looked like he was struggling his last start. And I know Irv wanted to tinker with him some more, but I just didn't want to kick that can down the road too long when it came to that particular horse. So we made a decision to sell him. We listed 5 horses for sale the other day. We had 4 in the Ohio sale coming up, so I'll run through those right now. The 5 horses listed for sale, I put Blue Monk on there, but I assume nobody would really jump in. It just seems like everybody's looking for a pretty good 3-year-old. This is a horse that won 2 in a row in Ontario. Was not looking to get rid of him, and the price we had on him was high enough. Somebody really would have to want him to buy him. Had no callers, no takers, which is fine. It's not the end of the world. We'll race Blue Monk when he gets back racing. I just do seem... I am concerned there may be some rougher waters ahead from him. But Harry likes how he's training, so no rush to give him away. Italian Grit and Fox Valley Britska. Now, we listed them for 22. Those horses are in condition claimers on Wednesday. They can claim them for 15 or 17,000. So I'm not shocked that we didn't get any takers there. But again, got to find consistent racing for them. If they do well this week, I don't think, again, much like the Welland Down situation, we'll talk about her in a minute, not non-winners of 3, non-winners of 4 trotters. They just are not. So they may have to go to Indiana and race in the condition claimers there. A few more classes eligible for them there. We'll see how they race on Wednesday. Blue Monk, Fox Valley Britska, Italian Grit, and then the 2 horses we sold, Cavill Hanover and Braemar. Now, Braemar, actually, we sold for 35, and the gentleman backed out, which I thought was odd. And then one of the other people had called and said, we told him, I said, yeah, I want 38 for the horse. We got it. So, I thought we had him sold. The person backed out, which is fine. And we ended up getting a little bit more for him. So, at the end of the day, Braemar is a perfect example. He could have done a Massachusetts, but he would have ran into that wall. And as that horses approach those water levels, you know, people aren't in the mood to buy a 3-year-old horse with 5 wins and 50,000 made. It's not that interesting to them, or 40 or 30. You know, I think 38,000 US for Braemar was as much as we could possibly ask to get for him. In fact, the horse that beat him the other day was sold for 33 on gate 5 days before, a week before. So, you know, I think we got top price. And people might say, well, we wanted to race him. We ran into this with Welland Down and Gray is the New Red. People just wanted to race the horses. And realistically, Well and Down, I think a gentleman had offered $22,000 for Well and Down, and we were going to sell her. But I have to reach out to you. Reached out to our clients. Some people didn't know, maybe not. Then the person told me that you have till noon. I'm going to keep her then. Don't worry about it. I can't get back to you before noon. I have to talk to everybody. So the deal fell through, which was fine. Right after the deal fell through, somebody had offered $23,000, but they wanted to watch the filly race on Saturday. Another person came forward and said, "Hey, I would have given you $23,000, but I want to watch a race Saturday also." And I was quite frank with everybody that was offering the money. Listen, this is the problem we run into when we're selling horses. If she goes out and races bad, you guys don't want her. If she races good, our clients won't want to sell her. So I don't know what you want me to say. So we ended up keeping her. She raced good. And we made the decision as a group, and it was very difficult. We made the decision as a group that we were going to keep her. We can race her in that class next week, put a tag on her. If they want her, go ahead and claim her. I don't think she's an Elmwinners of 4 filly. I don't think she's one of the top 4, 5, 6 Buckeye fillies. She's a decent horse. That's pretty good money for her. And that's the entire reason. Every single horse, we should go down the list. And I know I do. I have a running list in real time of what I think every single horse is worth. And that might upset people to say, "Oh, we didn't join the stable to make profits." That's probably the very good idea. But at the same time, we do have clients that own these horses, and if somebody's going to give us money for them, especially what they're worth, I have to speak for everyone, right? And this puts me in such a tough place, is that I'm left talking for Tom and Bob and Jim and Johnny at the same time, Lisa and Steph and everywhere else, and people that own these horses. And don't think for a second that you guys agree. You don't. I have to mediate with everybody. So I'm left stepping away from all of you that own the horse. Look at the horse, what the horse is worth. Take into account the arguments and the concerns that people have. Then make a decision for the stable.ca, for the group, and say, okay, what should we do with this horse? And a perfect example, Grey as a New Red. I'll throw the line out from Grey as a New Red last night. I don't know what happened to her, whether she was a little sick or maybe the gentleman shut her air off. I'm not sure. She raced terrible. But pitch that line out. Take it right off her card. She's just an okay horse. She is absolutely not a stake horse in any way, shape, or form. She might do okay in the fair series. There's nowhere to race her in between. She might be a condition claimer, maybe. That's certainly not a horse for the stable.ca. And I know everybody loves her because she's a pretty gray horse. But I have to make the decisions when it comes to what constitutes a stable horse. Why would we keep them, or why would we sell them? Well and Down's a little trickier prospect. She does have at least a class or two to race in. Grey as a New Red really has none. And, people always like to think outside the box, and it was wonderful. Somebody said, well, maybe we'll breed her. No, I'm not breeding a Racing Hill gray mare. Just filly, I'm not going to do that. Somebody else said, well, can we ship her back to Ontario and race her at Clinton and London and Grand River when they open? I mean, I'm not going to be shipping condition claimers around. It just makes no sense. And I know a lot of people like the filly and like the fact that she's a gray filly and they can watch her race every week. I get that. But I have to do what's best for the stable. And maybe people don't understand, they just can't. Somebody had said, well, I walk in your shoes, and I don't understand why you think you haven't walked in my shoes at all. If you are trying to make a cognitive argument to keep Grey as a New Red, then I'm sorry. You haven't walked in my shoes, and you don't know what your partners want to do. So I like the filly. I personally have nothing against her. She's just not good enough. And we all know this is a time of year, and soon there'll be another wave come. There'll be the 2-year-olds race, and there'll be some of them that aren't good enough also. But we have to, as a group, decide which horses stay and which horses go, and I can't keep them all. And I know that there may be somebody out there that owns 1 or 2% of a horse and like, this is unfair, and I want to pay my bill and watch the horse race every month. Okay, but maybe your partners don't. And that's the thing about being on a team, is that unfortunately I'm left with the tough decision of being the coach and the GM. And just because you decide that you want to see the horse race and you want to keep the horse, doesn't mean that your partners do, and doesn't mean that it's in the best interest of the group. So unfortunately I'm left with a decision to make that is going to alienate myself and make somebody angry and upset at me. But I hope you understand the job and the role that I have to play. So, Braemar, sold. Cavill Hanover, sold. Well and Down, we are going to keep, at least for a week or two, and let her answer some of the questions that we have. Gray as the New Red is going to the sale. I am going to have a reserve of her, but it won't be super high, so you know. Stormont Wizard is heading to the sale for a different reason. He's an old, classy horse, and our record of racing old trotters with issues in their hind legs is not great. And realistically, with the heat of the summer coming, it makes little sense to keep Stormont Wizard. It's frustrating, but it's true. Cut the Line, Keystone Raven goes without saying. These horses just aren't good enough. So that's who's been sold. That's who has not been sold. Have we made any additions to this list? No, not right now. I don't think we need to. So that is what's going on right now with the stable. What has gone on all week, what is going on with me, is when it comes to Ontario. Do I have any information? No, I don't think anybody does. I think when it comes to Ontario, they said golf will open up June 2nd. I believe between the 20th and the 2nd, hopefully we'll be back racing. There's no reason for racing not to lead Ontario's industry, at least into opening up. So I've instructed all our trainers to have the horses ready to go, 100% ready to go. All the 3-year-olds and aged horses, I want them ready to go on May 20th, and I fully expect that they will. Blue Monk, Brilliant Corners, Peanut, No Free Lunch, Tipsy and Dixie Barbie, all these horses have trained up. We'll continue to go to Mohawk over the next week or two to stay ready. Walk on the Moon, First Glance, trained in 59 and 2 minutes and 59 respectively. Walk on the Moon, 2 minutes, First Glance, 59. They're ready to go. All the babies have been in 212 at Tamiko Training Center, 212 to 214-ish. Johnny said the track wasn't great on Saturday, so it wasn't an awesome training day, but that'll happen. We didn't even get to train them here because of the weather. So we'll get to that this week. I think between last Wednesday and next Friday, a bit of a wash in between. So a week of easy work for our 2-year-olds. I would say a week from Wednesday, we're going to look to really push them a little bit. Probably put them in the race bikes, go between 2.8 and 2.11, 2.12 here at Northfield Park. I suspect the same will happen over the next week at Tamiko Training Center. But as I said to Johnny, get a number of training spots together, start taking the 2-year-olds over to Mohawk and pushing them a little bit so we get a good idea of what's going on with them. I guess that's it. What's going on today? We've nothing today. Somebody said, where's Oso Pine? Oso Pine last week tied up a little bit. Not a big deal. We needed to give him a week off anyway. This is like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks of, for the most part, racing. This horse needed a week off anyway. Such a miserable day. Picked a good day to give him a week off. So his AST wasn't high. It was around 2,000, but it was more than enough to explain his kind of lackluster race last week, and very, very easy to drop that down for next Sunday. So Oso Pine will be ready to go next Sunday evening here. This will be a pivotal race for him. I've really been toying with the idea of maybe sending him somewhere. I know somebody said, well, can we not get him back to Mohawk when it opens? It's a possibility. I think Massachusetts, I've been threatening a lot of horses to go to Massachusetts. Sweet Ambitions will be heading to Massachusetts after Wednesday, 100% for sure. I've made my mind up. 98% for sure. I've made my mind up now. There's a good chance that you may see Oso Pine also head in that direction after next week. We'll see. Stonebridge Simba is on his way back. West 52nd is back racing now. So that leaves White Tiger's terrible right now. His liver count was high again this week. I was hoping he would muddle through. He's in a position to win. Dave Palone put him in a perfect spot. He raced terrible. His line was acceptable, but not a good race at all from White Tiger. As I said to Tim, I don't want to see him race anymore until we get his liver down. So whether that means we turn him out, which I don't know I'm really for or against. We did that last time. Keep in mind, I don't want to start repeating mistakes. We did that last time to get his liver down, brought him back, and it didn't work out well for us. So it may entail just maybe being a bit more aggressive, trying to drop that liver count down at the same time. School him a couple of times, keep him tight so that when we race him, he is ready to go. Both his blood is perfect and he's physically on the top of his game. I think that makes much more sense. We'll see what his blood work looks like tomorrow, but that is the direction I'm leaning in. So, for this week, congratulations to the Perfect Record Group. Won my heart. Well and Down. Tamaldini, Brave World race fantastic also. What else we got? I guess that's it, really. A decent week at the track. Babies were a little so-so. I'm not going to give you a top 10 list this week. The 2-year-olds I'll run through quick, but not a whole lot has changed except for their times. I haven't had any additional injuries of any kind. I know that a lot of people are going to ask for updates on Well to Win Hanover. We had a bar shoe put on her. Nothing has busted out of that foot, which is not what I want to hear. At the same time, the blacksmith nailed the foot shoe on, said didn't seem to be a whole lot of soreness of any kind there. So it could mean one of two things. Maybe it was a bruise. That's possible. Maybe there is something still brewing in there. That's possible. The third possibility, obviously, is that there is a line there. The good news is she's not really that lame on it and not hard to put the shoe on her. Didn't really test that sort of the foot testers. So if there is a tiny, tiny line there, maybe it is just that, a tiny, tiny line. Those questions I can't answer until this week. I think when I brought it to you originally, it'd be 14 days from then. Sometime this week will be the 14th day. When we get that, hit that 14th day, we'll run her up to Dr. McKee and get that re-x-ray taken. So that is where we're at with everybody in the stable for the most part. If I forgot about something, my apologies. But I think I've covered most of it. I'll come back. We're going to talk about the 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds of racehorses. I can talk about the barns this week. Not a whole lot has changed. Big transition coming up right now. We got a lot of horses that are moving to the sale. A lot of horses that we've sold. Not many more than you've seen. I don't think there's anybody else to be added to that list, but there will be likely in the summer when the 2-year-olds get racing. So for now, that is your opening. As you can see, I'm not ill. I'm not dying. I'm not on life support. Relax. I'll be fine. But I did want to have some caution when it came to being exposed and exposing everybody else around me. Just a different world we live in, right? So I will be back in a minute. 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 3-year-olds, aged horses, 2-year-olds, and all the barns. Just a minute.